Hello and welcome to the final heat of Robot Carnage, where 4 more machines will battle it out for the 2 remaining spots in the semi-final. Last time, Third Sage Trillium controlled its way through, while Virion used brute power to destroy the competition. Let's see who will earn the last semi-final spots tonight. Our Series 1 champion, Flatline, has come back to defend his title against all other competitors, alongside Penance, seeded 11 with a new weapon setup to make them more deadly. Flatline intends to defend his crown in this final heat, but will need to get past Penance and 2 other robots first. Flatline. The top seed and champion Flatline has that powerful flipper capable of throwing robots out of the arena. Fast, agile, and ready to take on the competition. Checkmate. Checkmate here is ready to play some games with its ramming forks and tail spikes, but it can't run upside down and it's facing a flipper here.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Vital defense begins now against a simple ram bot and throwing Checkmate over. Get underneath and throwing them over and managing to make them somersault as Checkmate skids around to safety. Flatline is definitely lower at the front, and Checkmate now upside down as Flatline pretty much plays with it. Up against the release tire, but didn't go down, and Flatline just treating them like a toy, showing them how it's really done, how you become a champion. Getting underneath those front forks of Checkmate and throwing them upside down again. And now trying to throw them out of the arena, I think, and not succeeding. But they are managing to keep on top of them, throwing them over again, and this time they've caught them. Caught them with the flipper, taking them for a spin around the arena, essentially. And now Checkmate lies near the corner, immobilised, as the timer goes down. Checkmate goes in for a little push, but that's the end of Checkmate. They go into the redemption round, and Flatline moves forward. Flatline showing the rookies how it's done and move forward. Now for our 11th seeds to show off its new weapon. Penance. Penance returns with a vertical spinner setup and designed to be more balanced. The only thing I can see wrong with it here would be its slow weapon speed. CPU. Stands for Circular Pushing Unit with a single spike on the front. Weak weapon, weak armour, and may be easily infected with a virus.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Penance with a new vertical spinner against CPU with a single front ramming spike. A little bit hard to tell which way is forward. If they lose the spike, they're not going to know where they are. And that spinning blade, not causing as much damage as I thought it was gonna. A bit like that grinding weapon they had last time. But this blade looks a little bit better, but not really doing an awful lot. But CPU is definitely the stronger. They're definitely pushing against Penance here. And again. So all CPU would have to do would just be to open the pit and push Penance in. Because that spike doesn't seem to be doing an awful lot. And neither does that disc of Penance, which is a real shame. So full of promise, but yet not living up to expectations. A little bit disappointed. And the blade is stopped again. And there's not even a paint scratching on CPU. The pit goes down. So Penance thinks the best way to put CPU in its place is to put them in the pit. And they're on the edge, and they're in! CPU has gone into the pit, but was that by... I'm not sure whether that was by Penance or if CPU drove him by themselves. But they go into the redemption, and Penance moves forward.
Cease.
CPU in the pit due to a driving error puts Penance through to fight Flatline. That disc didn't do much, but we'll see if it can improve in this battle of the seeds.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Will Penance be able to cause an upset here? Possibly not with driving like that. As they run into the wall, and for a second time, Flatline, pushing them, stopping the blade again, and underneath, and flipping them up, and nearly got them over! They managed to get past the blade, flipped them, so they were on their back, and then went in for another flip, nearly getting them out, but they bounced on the arena sidewall, and stayed in the arena. The disc coming back down. Didn't hit the Flatline, but they are really wanting to get Penance out of the arena. That disc is not doing anything. Flatline know this. Pushing them against the arena pit tire and flip them up again and trying to get underneath to throw them out of the arena. But those struts that hold the weapon in place are up against the polycarbonate, preventing them from being flipped out of the arena, and they're being counted out. And unfortunately for Penance, didn't make it this time, but Flatline makes it to the semi-final.
Cease.
Flatline didn't even have to try, as it pinned Penance on its side and moves on to another semi-final. Penance has got one more chance, but who will it battle from the redemption round?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Two ramming bots. Who has the better drive? Who has the better pushing abilities? And who's going to win this stalemate? That Spike of CPU managing to lock horns with Checkmate's forks. Pushing towards them, but I'm not sure who has the better control. They're both bouncing off of the arena walls. Checkmate managing to push CPU up into the corner. So their forks are lower, but CPU seems to have the better drive. So this could be an interesting battle. If they can actually drive. Because they don't seem to be an awful lot of control. And, wait a minute, was that? Checkmate goes in for a spin. The full 360 movement, and yes! The spike has fallen off of CPU! So now, they have no idea which way is forward, and Checkmate are managing to take advantage of this. Managing to get the forks underneath and push CPU. And if it can do that, it can do whatever it wants to it. Push it into the wall, and down the pit even. If it can control itself towards the pit, and CPU has managed to get them in, and Checkmate has gone in himself! Oh, come on! After all that effort, managing to break off CPU's spike, slammed into the wall, and backwards into the pit. And it's good night from Checkmate. They are off the chessboard. And CPU gains redemption. They go through.
Cease.
And CPU wins by checkmate and sends its opposition to the side of the chessboard. Now it will fight Penance once more for the last spot in the semi-final. Who is going to take it?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Who's gonna win this time? Penance's weapon up to full pelt. They're gonna want to try and break off CPU spike. CPU pushing backwards. The spike now attached, and they're pushing against each other, and that blade is just grinding off the side of CPU, but doesn't look as if there's any damage been done. Still pushing against each other. CPU definitely the stronger here, definitely the more aggressive. And Penance just bouncing off them, holding its own, but CPU are holding them back. They do not want to let Penance win. Not after the humiliation of driving into the pit the last time. They want to win. and by any means necessary, and a good shoving match here. Penance getting that weapon back up to speed, and something's come off. Yes, the spike is on the floor. So they didn't attach it properly, unfortunately. Hitting off the pit release tire, but it didn't go down. Still bouncing off each other. Penance trying to go for the pit release. They want to see if they can actually get CPU back in it. Not having much success. You need to give it a good hit, and there's the good hit. The pit goes down, and CPU are staying well away from it. Penance will want to try and get them in, even if it means having to lead CPU with its own drive towards the pit. And they've managed it, and CPU's in itself! Oh, you can't make this up. CPU just drove, got one wheel stuck over the edge, and the only way for it to go was down. And CPU are out of it, and 11th seeds Penance march on.
Cease.
The CPU has been infected, giving Penance the win and the last spot in the semi-final. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe if you enjoyed the show. And join us next week where we have the first of our semi-finals, where Minister's Cat, Elf, Ice 2, Xerox, Trillium and Flatline will fight for a place in the grand final. See you then for more Robot Carnage.